Hello everyone, it's Retro Gaming Now, and we are back with the Stanley Parable, so let's go ahead and get this started.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I think I'm going to do the escape route at the very end.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It's the one we saw already.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright, so we've already been all through this. 2845.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety
Alright, New Age music.
Healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Alright, so we'll head down, then we'll take the escape route.
Building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him?
Mind control.
This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Actually, he escaped.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
We're not going to do that. We have free will.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Here it goes.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Here it comes. Oh.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Yet here we are. Looks like there's some lighting issues over there. The Stanley Parable. This reminds me
And
of...
yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Reminds me kind of the demo, little starting section.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Button sounds. A selection of the sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each is a mix of a keyboard and a synthesized tone. Interesting. It's like it's a museum, it looks like. There's a desk. Nature paintings, of which there are none. Stanley's computer. Office layout. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the tube doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout the development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. So there's the two doors, looks like. Corridor. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. The corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in good time. The two doors. The set of two doors was the very first concrete piece of Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room imposed. Filing cabinets. Office computers. This is interesting. Let's head this way first. Maintenance room. An early version of the maintenance room. We have not been there yet. If it even exists in this version. Greenlight. In September 2012, we submitted the Stanley Parable to Greenlight, Valve's process of approving games for Steam. The Greenlight page had only a series of cryptic photos, which were still enough to win the community's approval. Alright, so they had some interesting marketing, I think. I kind of liked it. Narrator emails. After the second trailer we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. I like seeing the Stanley Parable as much as I like seeing a humorously small badger in swim trunks. Indeed, I like... Okay. How do you stay in shape? Alright. Just some emails. Stuff doesn't really interest us because we haven't quite finished the game. The Lounge. An early version of the Lounge. So we have been to the Lounge. Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, second in March 2012, and third in February 2013. And nothing here, so I don't know. Game design mockup. This level that William, the level designer, sent to Davey, the writer, is a kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed, the basic layout from this mockup is still the same in this game. Countdown room, an early version of the countdown room, so we've been there. There's the elevator. Monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down, with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and down, and placed the two endings together instead. Freedom ending. The ending in the beta. Countdown desk. One of the desks from an early version of the countdown ending. So we've already seen all this. Let's go over here.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
I'll go there in a minute. Z ending. Alright, so we haven't seen this yet. This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the Z ending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game, so this doesn't look familiar at all. Z ending levers. These levers were originally part of the Z ending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color they'd pulled. This game is now paused. Begin the game again, resume the game again, etc. Escape menu. For a long time we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. So you can see we can do that. Z ending model. The Z ending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending. We thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it shortly before launch. Trailers. We ran 4 major teaser trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one, released in May 2012. It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator, informing viewers that he is preparing for a new version of the Stanley Parable. So let's watch. Shadows. I've actually never seen this trailer. Passing of time, maybe. Alright, we don't need to see more of that. It's just, we can watch it later. You can watch it later. Let's see. The apartment timer. In a previous version, the choice leading to the apartment ending a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. So we don't know what that is. Cargo lift. Cargo lift was always intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping on a different path. However, after this early version, we decided we also wanted the option of the player falling to their death. Cargo lift. This is the second version. Is functionally the same as what's in the final game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo is actually stored. Alright. The office. I'm going to go ahead and head out. I mean, this is interesting. A lot of this stuff we haven't actually gotten to yet. So I might come back to this room later. I'm intentionally skipping some specific things that we don't want to spoil. So let's head into this room. I don't believe the Z ending is actually in this game. Or if it is, I don't know which ending it is.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me.
Back.
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Now we finally died, I think. Oh, looks like we have to choose quit. There's nothing we can do. So, begin the game again. That was a strange ending. That's one of the strange endings. There's a couple more. So let's keep going. Let's go down the staircase this time.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to
Actually,
go
we
up
have
to
not
his
gotten to
boss's
the lounge
office,
yet.
hoping he might find... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
We have not actually got to the lounge yet. I forgot, I'm sorry. Alright, through this door we go. Out to the parking garage.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of the world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Are we? Nope.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Well then, that is an interesting ending, to say the least, and it doesn't really tell us anything more about what's going on, except for that we might be insane. Alright, let's go ahead and keep going.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now there's one more I know, if we go on the left door, so we're going to go ahead and do that.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I think I've got all the endings, but I don't know. So upstairs we go.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all...
And I am outside. So let's head on back down stairs and see what we can find. Can I go to the insane ending? Let's see. No, I cannot, so there's something else we've got to do up here. And the projector's off. That's interesting. There's a couple differences. This door is also closed. And the narrator's gone, I'll point out. So it looks like we left the narrator in the other room. If that's possible. And here's another door. You are now leaving. Sounds good. Escape plot, so we can see through the side here. 754, so escape pod bay 760. So it looks like we've got some stairs to climb. More offices. With the same numbers, it's like a repeat. I wonder if that's on purpose. Might very well be. So, is this the true escape? Since the original escape turns out, well, it's actually not clear exactly what's going on in that escape, the escape that we were just at 2 levels, or 2 sections ago. I don't know, though. And that's the great thing about this game is, I just don't know. Escape pod, launch bay. Alright, let's do it. And that's the end. So that's in one of the other an interesting ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Kind of a pain you can't jump. Anyway. So we're going to go ahead and take the other door this time. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. This is different, actually. Huh, it changed.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, we're going to take right. That was
This
weird.
was
That was
not
weird.
the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
That was weird. What was that?
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
And then leaving.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I don't think so. We've already seen that area. Into the depths we go.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Okay.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Do you know what you're doing, Mr. Narrator?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Alright. Let's see, I think I want to wander off track still.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, we have to go.
When Stanley...
Wait, what?
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Alright, where's the story? This way, maybe? I'm quite confused. This way, maybe. Yes, this looks right. Maybe. Warning, everyone knows what you did. You're just holding they're just holding back to let you torture yourself.
This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Alright. Whatever you say.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
That's a likely story. Definitely not.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Looks the same to me.
Aha!
There we
I
go.
knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Oh, this non-Euclidean geometry, I love it. Such a cool idea. Yep, here we go.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Nice!
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
And we are back, so that was a long loading screen.
All right. I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line.
Damn.
How simple is that?
I love the trademark. Alright. Maybe we'll actually get to a story this time.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there?
Oh.
Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
There we go.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Alright. Got more non-Euclidean geometry back there. That's really cool. I really like that.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Well, the line's still here.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why
Right.
can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Sounds good. 437.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything.
And
What do
more.
you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
More. I just love that. Alright.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
And it's gone. Oh, here's something.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere. which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Okay, that was interesting. The confusion ending.
Hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the time return stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Okay. And it restarted on its own account.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
And of course the narrator...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So it should... I forget what it said would happen.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Actually, it looks like... Turns out
Wow.
that was the ending, it looks like.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alright, I'm going to actually go ahead and end the episode there. This has been Retro Gaming Now. We've been playing Stanley Parable. As always, rate, comment, subscribe if you enjoy, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks.